everyone, thanks for coming back this week. Today we're doing a topic change. One of my favorite types and genres of books to read is true crime. And the reason is not for the blood and gore, it's for how they figure it out and how they're able to figure out who did it and why they did it and actually go through the court case of it. So I went from, in my early 20s, reading horror and suspense to reading true crime and biography and self-help, and that's just where I ended up. So today we're talking about Possessed, and this is about the stiletto shoe murder that happened in Houston, Texas, back in, I believe it was 1992. I'll go ahead and read the back of it for you. The officer responding to a 911 call at one of Houston's hippest high-rise expected the worst. After all, domestic violence situations can be unpredictable. But nothing could have prepared him for what he found. A beautiful woman drenched in blood, an older man lying dead on the floor, and a cobalt blue suede stiletto with tufts of white hair stuck to its 5.5-inch heel. With her stunning looks, magnetic personality, and erratic behavior, Anna Trujillo had a notorious reputation on the downtown Houston scene. She spoke often of occult powers, though few knew how deeply she believed such boasts. Stefan Anderson was a gentle soul, a Swedish transplant with good career and trusted friends, who was desperate to find someone special. Theirs is a story of obsession, madness, and tragedy, because once Stefan fell head over heels for Anna, he was under her control and he didn't have a chance in hell. Now this book caught me from page 1. And I say that reluctantly because even though it caught my attention, I was stuck on page 8 for about 2 nights. I don't know why. I don't know why it's important in these true crime books to tell me where they were born and how much they weighed when they were born. I don't care. Yes, I care where they grew up and how they grew up, because that's important in how they ended up because of how they're raised. But it doesn't matter to me how much they weighed when they were born and how big their feet were, and I don't care. But this book, I remember the case when it came out on the news. I remember when it happened. I also remember when it came out on the show Snapped. And I remember watching it, and but they didn't talk much about the occult and her belief system. And to be honest, they didn't much in this book either. They touched on it briefly. They really didn't bring up her beliefs and the possibility that she was possessed until the afterword, which I think is pretty crappy. Don't tease me with a cover like this and tell me she might be possessed and tell me it's got to do with the occult, and then you don't mention anything about it until the afterward, which is like the last 3.5 pages. That's pretty crappy. But the story in itself was very entrenching, and it was very... The author, Catherine Casey, she did a very good job. She knows how to draw you in, and she told the story from one spectrum from the gentleman's side of it up until he met Anna, and then from Anna's perspective up until she met him, and then it merged together, and then that's where it took off. And she did a really good job of it, and I'm really impressed with it, and I highly recommend it. I'm going to give this book 5 stars. highly recommend it. Quick read. I read it in 2 nights. Once I got past page 8, I threw past it. It was nothing. So I got through it actually in 3 nights because I stayed on page 8 for 2 nights. So yeah, I got through it in 3 nights. So that's about it. Catherine Casey, Possessed. 5 stars. Leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions. Give this a like. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new uploads. Until next Thursday. Bye.